Welcome student to the next class of metabolism of carbohydrate. In first lecture we have seen glycolysis and citric acid cycle. Now in this class we will discuss the hexose monophosphate pathway. In most of the animals tissue, major catabolic effort of glucose 6 phosphate is glycolysis. So in most of the tissues, whenever glucose 6 phosphate is formed, it utilized for the glycolysis to produce energy. Okay, but glucose 6 phosphate does have other catabolic pathway also. In some tissue, oxidation of glucose 6 phosphate to produce pentose phosphate takes place. Means from 6 carbon sugar to 5 carbon sugar formation or synthesis takes place. This pathway called pentose phosphate pathway or phosphogluconate pathway or hexose monophosphate pathway. In this oxidation pathway, NADP is converted to NADPH. The rapidly dividing cells of bone marrow, skin, intestinal mucosa and tumor, they use pentose called ribose 5-phosphate, which is synthesized in HMP pathway to synthesize RNA, DNA, ATP, NADH, FADH2 and coenzyme A. So in HMP pathway, the 6 carbon sugar which is converted into 5 carbon sugar called pentose ribose 5-phosphate is used for the synthesis of RNA, DNA, ATP, NADH, FADH2 and coenzyme A. In other tissue, the essential product is not the pentose called ribose 5-phosphate but the electron donor NADPH. This NADPH is needed for the reductive biosynthesis or to counter the damaging effect of oxygen radical. Tissue that carry out extensive fatty acid synthesis, for example liver, adipose tissue, lactating mammary gland, also the tissue which are very active in synthesis of cholesterol and steroid hormone require NADPH. So from HMP pathway, glucose 6 phosphate is converted into ribose 5-phosphate and NADPH. Ribose 5-phosphate is used for the synthesis of RNA, DNA, NADH, FADH2, coenzyme A, whereas NADPH is used in the steroid hormone and cholesterol synthesis. This pathway is divided into oxidative phase and non-oxidative phase. First we will see oxidative phase. The first step is oxidation of glucose 6 phosphate to form 6-phosphogluconolactone. It is an intramolecular ester formation. This reaction is catalyzed by enzyme glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme, and NADP is the electron acceptor which form NADPH. At the first step, where glucose 6 phosphate is converted into 6-phosphogluconolactone, one NADPH is synthesized. So this lactone is then hydrolyzed to form free acid 6-phosphogluconate, and this reaction is catalyzed by specific lactonase. Then this 6-phosphogluconate undergo oxidation and decarboxylation to form ketopentose called ribulose 5-phosphate. From 6-phosphogluconate, it forms ribulose 5-phosphate, and this reaction is catalyzed by 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase. First enzyme is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase, then second enzyme is lactonase, then third enzyme is again 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase. This reaction generates second molecule of NADPH. The phosphopentose isomerase convert this ribulose 5-phosphate to its aldose isomer called ribose 5-phosphate. In some tissue, pathway end at this point. Means at oxidative phase, you got 2 NADPH and ribose 5-phosphate. Okay, the general reaction is glucose 6-phosphate plus 2 NADP plus H2O form ribose 5-phosphate, which is pentose sugar, and 2 NADPH. And most of the tissue, this pathway ends here, but in some tissue it goes from here to non-oxidative phase. So now we will see the diagrammatic explanation of oxidative phase. The glucose 6-phosphate is acted by glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase and NADP is involved. It forms NADPH and 6-phosphogluconolactone. Then lactonase is act on this 6-phosphogluconolactone, convert this 6-phosphogluconolactone to 6-phosphogluconate. Then 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase, which use NADP, form NADPH and synthesize D-ribulose 5-phosphate. Then isomerase enzyme will convert this ribulose 5-phosphate to ribose 5-phosphate. Here oxidative phase step is stop, but in some tissue from here it ribose 5-phosphate enter into non-oxidative phase. Now we will explain what is the non-oxidative phase. So in non-oxidative phase, this phase recycle the pentose phosphate to glucose 6-phosphate. Means in oxidative phase 6-carbon sugar is converted into 5-carbon sugar, but in non-oxidative phase same 5-carbon sugar is converted into 6-carbon sugar. The ribulose 5-phosphate is first converted to xylulose 5-phosphate. The reaction catalyzed by epimerase enzyme, whereas ribose 5-phosphate ketoisomerase convert ribulose 5-phosphate to ribose 5-phosphate. So in non-oxidative phase, the ribulose 5-phosphate is synthesized. By enzyme epimerase, it is converted into xylulose 5-phosphate, whereas 50% will be converted into ribose 5-phosphate by enzyme isomerase. Same substrate but different enzyme will convert the molecule into two different products. One is xylulose 5-phosphate and another is ribose 5-phosphate. In next reaction, trans-catalase enzyme will transfer 2-carbon fragment from ketose donor to aldose. Okay, so ketose donor is xylulose, whereas aldose is a ribose. So trans-catalase enzyme will transfer carbon 1 and carbon 2 of xylulose 5-phosphate to ribose 5-phosphate. Result in the formation of 7-carbon product called pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate, and rest of the 3-carbon fragment from xylulose is called glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Okay, now we will explain from image. Okay, so by trans-catalase enzyme it will form xylulose 5-phosphate and ribose 5-phosphate. Then again by xylulose 5-phosphate and ribose 5-phosphate, this will be formed by epimerase and isomerase enzyme. Then on these two molecules trans-catalase will be act. 2 carbon from xylulose 5-phosphate, carbon 1 and carbon 2 will transfer to ribose 5-phosphate, form 7-carbon sugar called pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate. 1 carbon, 2nd carbon, 3rd carbon, 4th carbon, 5th carbon, 6th carbon and 7th carbon, and rest of the 3-carbon molecule will be glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate from xylulose, whereas 2 carbon will be transferred to ribose 5-phosphate to form pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate. Then this trans-aldolase catalyze the reaction. 3-carbon fragment is then removed from the pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate and condensed with glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Again 3-carbon molecule will remove from pseudoheptulose and it will transfer to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, due to which it will form fructose 6-phosphate, and rest of the 4-carbon sugar will be called erythrose 4-phosphate. Then trans-catalase will be act again. It will form fructose 6-phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate from erythrose 4-phosphate and xylulose 5-phosphate. HMP shunt is generating two important products. One is pentoses and second is NADPH, which are needed for the biosynthetic reaction and other function. Now we will explain the non-oxidative phase one by one. Okay, first from ribulose 5-phosphate by isomerase enzyme we will get the ribose 5-phosphate, and by epimerase enzyme we will get the xylulose 5-phosphate. Then 2 carbon from xylulose 5-phosphate will be transferred to ribose 5-phosphate to form pseudoheptulose 7-phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. This reaction will be catalyzed by transcatallose. Then 3 carbon from pseudoheptulose will be transferred to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate by enzyme transaldolase. It will form fructose 6-phosphate and erythrose 4-phosphate. Then this erythrose 4-phosphate will be react with another xylulose 5-phosphate by enzyme transcatallose, and due to the reaction between erythrose 4-phosphate and xylulose 5-phosphate, it will form fructose 6-phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Then this fructose 6-phosphate will be converted into glucose 6-phosphate, and again this glucose 6-phosphate will be involved in HMP pathway. This way HMP pathway will take place. Glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. The glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency is inherited sex-linked trait. Deficiency occur in all cells of the affected individual, but it more severe occur in RBC. HMP shunt is the only pathway providing NADPH in the erythrocyte. An impaired synthesis of NADPH in RBC results in the accumulation of methemoglobin and peroxides in erythrocyte, which leads to the hemolysis of RBC. Glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency do not usually exhibit any clinical symptoms, but in some it develops hemolytic anemia. Drugs such as primaquinone, acetanilide, sulfamethoxazole, or injection of fava beans produce hemolytic jaundice in these patients which having glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. Severe infection generate free radical called macrophages which can enter RBC and cause hemolysis. Next is gluconeogenesis. In mammal, some tissue depend almost completely on glucose for their metabolic energy. For example, brain, nervous system, as well as erythrocyte, testes, renal medulla and embryonic tissue. Out of these, the brain alone requires about 120 grams of glucose each day. Glucose from the blood is the sole source or major fuel for the brain. More than half of all the glucose stored as a glycogen in muscle and liver. Whenever we take the carbohydrate, the required amount of glucose is transferred to brain, nervous tissue, erythrocyte, testes, renal medulla and embryonic tissue, whereas 50% is stored in the form of glycogen in muscle and liver. However, the supply of glucose from these stores is not always sufficient. For example, between the meal and during longer fast period or after vigorous exercise, this glycogen is not sufficient, or glycogen to convert glucose is required long time, or whatever the free glucose is present is not sufficient. For this time, organism need an alternative pathway for the synthesis of glucose in quick form from non-carbohydrate precursor. This accomplished by pathway called gluconeogenesis. It means whenever we take the carbohydrate, the free glucose is utilized by some tissue and 50% is stored in liver and muscles. But this glycogen to break down it required long period, during which like the condition like fast, vigorous exercise, we require the quick source of glucose. For that, gluconeogenesis is the alternative pathway. This pathway converts pyruvate and release related 3 and 4 carbon compound to glucose. Gluconeogenesis occurs in all animal, plant, fungi and microorganisms. The reactions are essentially the same in all tissue and all species. The precursor of glucose in animal are 3 carbon compounds such as lactate, pyruvate and glycerol as well as certain amino acid. In mammal, gluconeogenesis takes place mainly in liver and lesser extent in renal cortex and in epithelial cell line inside the small intestine. After vigorous exercise, lactate produced by anaerobic glycolysis in skeletal muscle, it returns to the liver and again it converts to glucose, which again move back to the muscle and it is converted to glycogen. This circuit is called Cori cycle. Okay, in last lecture we discussed the glycolysis in which anaerobic glycolysis lactate production takes place. That lactate is transferred back into liver where it is converted into glucose. Then this glucose again move to skeletal muscle where it is converted or stored in the form of glycogen. This circuit, the transfer of lactate to glucose and glucose to again back to muscle is called Cori cycle. Gluconeogenesis and glycolysis, most of the time the steps are similar, but this pathway are not identical and they are running in opposite direction. Although they do share the several steps, mean out of 10 steps, 7 steps of gluconeogenesis are identical or reverse of glycolytic reaction, still they are not the identical pathway. There are 3 steps which are differ than glycolysis, so we will explain that 3 steps. First is conversion of pyruvate to phosphoenol pyruvate. The pyruvate is the end product formed in aerobic glycolysis. The pyruvate is first transported from cytosol to mitochondria or generated from alanine within the mitochondria by transamination. Glycolysis takes place in cytosol where the end product is pyruvate. Then that pyruvate is transported from cytosol to mitochondria, or sometimes pyruvate is generated from alanine within the mitochondria by transamination reaction. Then this pyruvate is converted to oxaloacetate in mitochondria. This reaction is catalyzed by mitochondrial enzyme pyruvate carboxylase. It depends on ATP for the energy. The pyruvate carboxylase is the first regulatory enzyme in the gluconeogenetic pathway. The mitochondrial membrane has no transporter for oxaloacetate. Then oxaloacetate formed from pyruvate is converted to malate. The reaction catalyzed by enzyme malate dehydrogenase at the expense of NADH. So now see the image. In first step, pyruvate which is transported into mitochondria with the help of carbon dioxide and ATP. That pyruvate is converted into oxaloacetate. Then this oxaloacetate with the help of enzyme malate dehydrogenase with the utilization of NADH converted into malate. Then this malate is transported to cytosol and then malate is converted to oxaloacetate. In this reaction, NAD is converted to NADH. Whatever the NADH is utilized here, it is regenerated. Then in cytosol, oxaloacetate is converted into phosphoenol pyruvate by enzyme phosphoenol pyruvate kinase. Here 1 ATP is utilized. Then this phosphoenol pyruvate will be entered in the further pathway of gluconeogenesis. The malate leave the mitochondria through the specific transporter and enter into cytosol. In cytosol, malate again reoxidized to oxaloacetate with the production of cytosolic NADH. Then oxaloacetate is converted into phosphoenol pyruvate. This reaction is catalyzed by phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase. Magnesium dependent reaction, it requires GTP as a phosphoryl group donor. The carbon dioxide added to pyruvate in phosphoenol pyruvate carboxylase reaction is same molecule which lost in phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase reaction. Now here see pyruvate. Pyruvate with the help of ATP is converted to oxaloacetate. Then oxaloacetate is converted to malate, and this transported into cytosol. In cytosol again, that malate is converted into oxaloacetate. Then that oxaloacetate is converted into phosphoenol pyruvate by enzyme phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase. Then here it will convert to 2-phosphoglycerate, which is the reversal of glycolysis. Then 3-phosphoglycerate, then 1,3-bis phosphoglycerate. Here again 2 ATP are utilizing. Then 1,3-bis phosphoglycerate is converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate molecule. Here 2 NADH are utilizing. Then glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is converted into 1-fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Okay, now fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is converted into fructose 6-phosphate by enzyme fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase, whereas in glycolysis fructose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate by enzyme phosphofructokinase 1. So it is not the reversal of glycolysis. Then fructose 6-phosphate is converted to glucose 6-phosphate. Then glucose 6-phosphate is converted to glucose by enzyme glucose 6-phosphatase, whereas in glycolysis glucose is converted into glucose 6-phosphate by enzyme hexokinase. In glycolysis here ATP is utilizing, whereas in gluconeogenesis there is no requirement of glucose energy in the form of ATP. So gluconeogenesis is similar to glycolysis except 3 steps. Fructose 1,6-bisphosphate to fructose 6-phosphate. The second glycolytic reaction that cannot participate in gluconeogenesis is the phosphorylation of fructose 6-phosphate by phosphofructokinase 1. This reaction is highly exergonic and therefore irreversible in intact cell. The generation of fructose 6-phosphate from fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is catalyzed by magnesium dependent fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase 1. The fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase is absent in smooth muscle and heart muscle. Therefore gluconeogenesis is not takes place in smooth muscle and heart muscle. This enzyme also regulates the gluconeogenesis. Then conversion of glucose 6-phosphate to glucose. The final reaction of gluconeogenesis is dephosphorylation of glucose 6-phosphate to yield glucose. The reaction is catalyzed by glucose 6-phosphatase, does not require synthesis ATP. It is simple hydrolysis of phosphate ester. Enzyme mostly present in liver and kidney, but absent in brain and adipose tissue. So this enzyme glucose 6-phosphatase is mainly present in liver and kidney, but absent in muscle, brain and adipose tissue. That's why gluconeogenesis not takes place in this muscle. Then overall reaction of gluconeogenesis. Here 2 molecules of pyruvate are used, 4 ATP and 2 GTP, 2 NADH are required to form 1 glucose. Whereas in glycolysis glucose is utilized, it forms 2 ATP, 2 NADH. Means in gluconeogenesis more energy is required to synthesize glucose, whereas in glycolysis ATP is produced. For each molecule of glucose found from pyruvate, 6 high energy phosphate groups are required, 4 in the form of ATP and 2 in the form of GTP. In addition to this, 2 molecules of NADH are required for the reduction of 2 molecules of 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. The synthesis of glucose from pyruvate is relatively expensive process, but it is essential for the supply of glucose to brain. Then gluconeogenesis from amino acid. The carbon skeleton of glucogenic amino acid. Amino acid except leucine and lysine are gluconeogenic or glucogenic amino acid. Involved in the formation of pyruvate or intermediate of citric acid cycle. From that product, intermediate of citric acid cycle, ultimately they are utilized for the synthesis of glucose. Then gluconeogenesis from glycerol. Glycerol is liberated mostly in adipose tissue by hydrolysis of fat. Fat are nothing but triacyl glycerol, which is made up of fatty acid and glycerol. When hydrolysis of fat takes place, fatty acid gets separated into free fatty acid and glycerol. Then the enzyme glycerokinase, found in liver and kidney but absent in adipose tissue, this enzyme converts glycerol to glycerol 3-phosphate. Then later that glycerol 3-phosphate is converted into dihydroxyacetone phosphate by enzyme glycerol 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. Then this dihydroxyacetone phosphate is converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, or this dihydroxyacetone phosphate involved in, which is the intermediate of glycolysis, will be involved in glucose production. Then gluconeogenesis from propionate. Okay, the propionate is mostly synthesized from the oxidation of odd chain fatty acid and the breakdown of some amino acid, for example methionine and isoleucine, which yield 3-carbon propionyl coenzyme A product. There, the enzyme propionyl coenzyme A carboxylase will be act on propionyl coenzyme A in the presence of ATP and biotin and convert that propionyl coenzyme A to methylmalonyl coenzyme A. Then this methylmalonyl coenzyme A will convert into succinyl coenzyme A in the presence of vitamin B12. That succinyl coenzyme A will enter into gluconeogenesis via citric acid cycle. Now see here, the propionyl coenzyme A, which is synthesized from oxidation of odd chain fatty acid or methionine and isoleucine, will be acted by propionyl coenzyme A carboxylase. In the presence of ATP will form D-methylmalonyl coenzyme A. Then methylmalonyl coenzyme A racemase will be act on this D-methylmalonyl coenzyme A to convert it into L-methylmalonyl coenzyme A. Then this L-methylmalonyl coenzyme A will be converted into succinyl coenzyme A in the with the help of enzyme methylmalonyl coenzyme A mutase. Then this succinyl coenzyme A, which is the intermediate of citric acid cycle, will enter into gluconeogenetic pathway. Then Cori cycle. The Cori cycle is the synthesis of glucose from lactate. The lactate produced by active skeletal muscle is the major precursor for the gluconeogenesis. Under anaerobic condition, pyruvate is reduced to the lactate by lactate dehydrogenase enzyme. This is we already explained in glycolysis, in anaerobic glycolysis. Pyruvate in the presence of NADH will form lactate. The lactate is the dead end in glycolysis, so must be reconverted into pyruvate for further metabolism. The purpose of lactate production is to regenerate NAD so that glycolysis proceeds uninterrupted in skeletal muscle. The muscle lack of glucose 6-phosphatase and fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase, therefore gluconeogenesis is not takes place in muscle. Therefore, lactate or pyruvate produced in muscle cannot be utilized for the synthesis of glucose. The plasma membrane of the skeletal muscle is freely permeable to lactate. Therefore, the lactate is carried from skeletal muscle through blood to liver. Means from skeletal muscle, lactate is transferred to liver through the blood. In liver, it is oxidized to pyruvate and then pyruvate is converted to glucose by gluconeogenesis. Then that glucose is again transported back to the skeletal muscle where it is stored in the form of glycogen or utilized as an energy source. It is called Cori cycle. Here see, glucose in anaerobic glycolysis will convert into lactate. Then lactate from plasma cell through the blood is transported to liver. In lactate in liver is by converted into pyruvate and then by gluconeogenesis it forms the glucose in liver, and then this glucose again transport back to skeletal muscle where it is used stored in the form of glycogen or will be utilized by glycolysis to form lactate. Synthesis of glucose in liver from skeletal muscle lactate and reuse of glucose by muscle for energy purpose is known as Cori cycle. Next is glycogenesis. The synthesis of glycogen from glucose is called glycogenesis. Glycogenesis takes place in cytosol and requires glucose, ATP and UTP. The first step of synthesis of glycogen is synthesis of UDP glucose. Okay, the enzyme hexokinase in muscle and glucokinase in liver convert glucose to glucose 6 phosphate. Then enzyme phosphoglucomutase catalyze the conversion of glucose 6 phosphate to glucose 1 phosphate. Then uridine diphosphate glucose is synthesized from glucose 1 phosphate and UTP by enzyme UDP glucose pyrophosphorylase. So here glucose is converted into glucose 6 phosphate, which is then get isomerized to glucose 1 phosphate, and then it forms the UDP glucose by enzyme UDP glucose pyrophosphorylase. So here see sugar, glucose phosphate, glucose 1 phosphate and UDP. Here it contains UDP uridine triphosphate containing 3 phosphate group, 1, 2nd and 3rd. Okay, then out of this UTP 2 phosphate group are removed and 1 phosphate from that sugar 1 phosphate will be linked with the UMP to form UDP glucose, and pyrophosphate from the UTP will be hydrolyzed to inorganic phosphate. The primer required for the glycogenesis initiation. A small fragment of pre-existing glycogen acts as a primer to initiate the glycogen synthesis. In the absence of glycogen primer, a specific protein called glycogenin can accept the glucose from uridine diphosphate glucose or UDP glucose. The hydroxyl group of tyrosine of glycogenin is the site at which initial glucose molecule is attached. The enzyme glycogen initiator synthase transfer first molecule of glucose to glycogenin. Then glycogenin itself take up few glucose residue to form primer fragment. This primer then serve as an acceptor for the rest of the glucose molecule to synthesize the glycogen. Glycogen synthesis by glycogen synthase. Glycogen synthase in an enzyme which form the alpha-1,4 glycosidic bond. This enzyme transfer glucose from UDP glucose to the non-reducing end of glycogen to form 1,4 linkage. Okay, now here see, this is glucose molecule which is linked to UDP from UDP glucose. Now this is the glycogenin where alpha-1,4 bond is formed and 4 carbon is free. Okay, now here what will happen, this sugar will come and linked here and UDP will be released in this reaction, and again alpha-1,4 bond is formed. This alpha-1,4 bond is formed by glycogen synthase. Okay, then again next sugar will come and here alpha-1,4 bond will form. Likewise long chain of glycogen will form. Formation of branches in glycogen. So glycogen synthase will only form the alpha-1,4 bond, which will be the linear structure, but glycogen is a branch tree like structure. The formation of branches is brought by the action of branching enzyme called glucosyl alpha-4,6 transferase. It is also called amylo alpha-1,4 transglucosidase. This enzyme transfers the fragment of 5 to 8 glucose residue from non-reducing end of glycogenic chain. This forms a new non-reducing end beside the existing one. Glycogen is elongated and branched respectively by enzyme glycogen synthase and glucosyl 4,6 transferase. So here see the glycogenesis. Glucose by enzyme hexokinase or glucokinase it converted into glucose 6-phosphate. Then by enzyme phosphoglucomutase it is converted into glucose 1-phosphate. Then this glucose 1-phosphate is linked with UTP to form UDP glucose or uridine diphosphate glucose. Then this UDP glucose is transferred to glycogen primer to then glycogen synthase enzyme it will form the alpha 1,4 glycosyl bond. Then glucosyl 4,6 transferase it will add the branching point. Okay, likewise branch chain structure of glycogen will form. The overall reaction of glycogen synthesis for addition of each glucose residue is 1 glucose is added, for which 2 ATP are utilized, which form glucose with 1 more molecule of glucose plus formation of 2 ADP plus inorganic phosphate. 1 ATP is used for the phosphorylation of glucose to form glucose 6-phosphate, while other ATP is used for the conversion of UDP to UTP, which will be again bind with glucose to form UDP glucose. Likewise, glycogen synthesis will takes place. Next is glycogenolysis. The degradation of stored glycogen in liver and muscle is called glycogenolysis. The pathway for the synthesis and degradation of glycogen are not reversible. An independent enzyme present in cytosol to carry out glycogenolysis. Glycogen is degraded by breaking enzyme breaking alpha 1,4 and alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond, which is formed by branching enzyme and alpha 1,4 glucosyl transfer glucoside. Action of glycogen phosphorylase. The alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond from non-reducing end are sequentially break or cleaved by glycogen phosphorylase enzyme. This process yields glucose 1-phosphate molecule by process called phosphorylasis. This continue until 4 glucose residue remain on either side of branching point. The glycogen form known as a limit dextrin, which cannot be further degraded by phosphorylase. The branch of glycogen are then cleaved by 2 enzyme activities present on single polypeptide called debranching enzyme. The glucosyl 4,4 transferase, also called oligo alpha 1,4 glucan transferase. This enzyme remove the fragment of 3 or 4 glucose residue attached at the branch and then transfer them to another chain. Then amylo alpha 1,6 glucosidase enzyme will break the alpha 1,6 bond at the branch and release free glucose. The remaining molecule of glycogen is again available for the action of phosphorylase and debranching enzyme. Now here see, there are number of glucose molecule, and again here at the branching point there are number of glucose molecule. Okay, then phosphorylase enzyme will remove the sequentially glucose molecule from here and here, from here and here, likewise until 4 glucose molecule present from the branching point. Okay, at this point phosphorylase cannot be act. So for that transferase enzyme will be act and it will transfer glucose molecule to the non-reducing end of the linear chain. Only one glucose molecule is present. Then alpha 1,6 glucosidase molecule will remove this glucose from branching point. Then this linear chain again will be undergo phosphorylase enzyme to release the free glucose until next branching point come. Likewise, degradation of glycogen takes place. Glycogen phosphorylase and debranching enzyme produce glucose 1-phosphate and free glucose in the ratio of 8:1. Glucose 1-phosphate is then converted to glucose 6-phosphate by enzyme phosphoglucomutase. The fate of glucose 6-phosphate depend on the tissue. It may go for the HMP pathway or for glycolysis. The liver, kidney and intestine contain glucose 6-phosphatase that cleave glucose 6-phosphate to glucose. This enzyme is absent in muscle and brain, hence free glucose cannot be produced in muscle and brain. It will be go to the glycolysis. The liver is a major glycogen storage organ to provide glucose into circulation to be utilized by various tissues. The acid maltase or alpha-1,4-glucosidase is a lysosomal enzyme. This enzyme continuously degrades the small quantity of glycogen. The significance of this pathway is not very clear, but the deficiency of lysosomal enzyme alpha-1,4-glucosidase result in the glycogen accumulation. The deficiency of lysosomal enzyme alpha-1,4-glucosidase cause glycogen storage disease type 2, also called Holmes disease. Then regulation of glycogenesis and glycogenolysis. First is allosteric regulation of glycogen metabolism. The control is carried out in such a way that when glycogen synthesis increase, when substrate availability and high energy level is available. So glycogen synthesis only takes place when there is a ample amount of energy and glucose is available. Whereas glycogen breakdown is enhanced when glucose concentration and energy level is low in body. Okay. In well-fed state, glucose 6-phosphate is high, which allosterically activate the glycogen synthesis for more glycogen synthesis. Means when you are well-fed, the glycogen synthesis will take place. On the other hand, glucose 6-phosphate and ATP allosterically inhibit the glycogen phosphorylation. Means when well-fed state, glycogenolysis will be stopped. Free glucose in liver also act as an allosteric inhibitor of glycogen phosphorylase. Regulation of glycogen synthesis by CAMP or cyclic adenosine monophosphate. Gluconeogenesis is regulated by enzyme glycogen synthase. This enzyme exists in two forms: glycogen synthase A, which is non-phosphorylated and active form, and glycogen synthase B, which is phosphorylated and inactive form. Glycogen synthase A can be converted into glycogen synthase B by phosphorylation. The phosphorylation is catalyzed by CAM-dependent enzyme called protein kinase. The protein kinase phosphorylate and inactivate the glycogen synthase by converting A form to B form. The glycogen synthase B can be converted back to glycogen synthase A by enzyme protein phosphatase. Here see, glycogen synthase is available present in two forms: glycogen synthase A and glycogen synthase B. Glycogen synthase A is an active form and glycogen synthase B is non-active form. So glycogen synthase A with the help of protein kinase with the help of ATP form glycogen synthase, means it will be inactivated. No glycogen synthesis will take place. But phosphoprotein phosphatase remove the phosphate group from glycogen synthase B, converted into glycogen synthase A, which is the active form and will be involved in glycogen synthesis.